The first point on funding. I'm glad that the German representative is here today. During the World Urban Forum in Rio, Germany put up a very strong case for urban safety and security. Had several networking events during that forum, and the reason why we're here today is partly because of that vision that was started during that Rio forum. The importance of upscaling the safe cities approach led to this whole conceptualization of the global network. And I think Carl has also, in his final remarks, underscored some of the issues that are the priority of the Federal Republic of Germany. Now, in your discussion paper, item 28, we talk about the initial startup phase for this global network, in which we say that part of the tranche of funds that Germany has allocated to UN Habitat will be used for this global network on safe cities, the reason of our discussion in Rio. Second to that, I want to point you to the roadmap itself on page 14, which defines a basic minimum. We purposely gave ourselves 1 year between now and April 2012 to define the action plan that this global network would do under the incubation of UN Habitat. We are looking at a situation, and it resonates with some of your comments yesterday's. We're looking at a period up to 2016 where Habitat could be able to define or help partners come up with a clear governance structure and probably the relationship with the Global Association of Local Authorities, such as UCLG and the World Metropolis. In this 1 year phase, we have flagged the Urban Gateway, which was presented at the onset of this workshop, as the main virtual platform which Habitat is committed to getting going, to enhance these discussions that we have. In that sense, there is a financial commitment to that. We have also spoken about the need to, based on the end-in-mind situation that we have for 2016, and based on some of the important questions we put across to you, that's also listed in the document on page 12, the need for us to define the collective activities, concrete products, the web platform, the secretariat, the regular timetable for main activities, the minimum of protocols, and the possibilities for fundraising, all of which have been touched upon in one way or another in your deliberations yesterday. Based on that vision, focus, and clear direction, we were proposing to put together a project document reflective of our collective discussion. And the roadmap then speaks to late 2011 to have some of these ideas presented jointly in a fundraising approach that involves all of us to various donor capitals, looking at the vision to 2016. So here is where we are. we can't say that Habitat alone can fund everything relating to this network. I think we underscored yesterday the need for partners to begin to think of ways of messaging the global network within their current work plans, and by extension that means also giving some degree of financial strength to this global network. So I think the funding element, I can broadly cover it this way. In terms of the steering committee that talks to the two organs that we have referenced in the program, the Partners Consultative Group and the Advisory Group, we are, first and foremost, our vision is to ensure that this does not just become a rubber stamping forum. As was mentioned by Franz yesterday, there is need for each one of us here to feel equally empowered to see the continuity of this network by virtue of your presence through these last 2-3 days. We are therefore suggesting that what comes out of this group is also a steering group of partners, maybe about not more than 8, otherwise it doesn't become functional, that can work with Habitat in defining the roadmap, in advancing the consensus points that will emerge from this meeting, and refine those structures that are needed to make this network function, with less meetings, of course. The idea of the Partners Consultative Group was mooted in the last conference in 2007 by partners themselves, who came up with a communique. They came up with their terms of reference that was relevant at that moment, to that moment, but which need to be revised. My understanding of a Partners Consultative Group is the collective of partners interested, both present and not present. Probably speaking to what Chris was mentioning, defining that maximum number that can be administratively possible with our current resource situation. So the steering committee will be an organ, would you call it a small organ of this wider Partners Consultative Group that will also help define what that Partners Consultative Group would look like. Then we also have the advisory group to the executive director that underscores or reinforces that basically what Carl has mentioned in his presentation, that will utilize the convening power of the United Nations to be able to advance the global network vision and mission. And will so often, either once a year or by twice a year, meet to be able to monitor the progress that this global network on safe cities is making. Preferably to meet not in a separate meeting, but in one of the partners' already defined meetings. And we know, for one, ICPC has annual colloquiums. Could be that being the forum. I'm not so sure whether other WHO or other actors do have annual gatherings that could allow for such an advisory group to meet. But these are elements that you need to discuss and define in terms of what is doable. I think this is the broad, not maybe very clear, but at least it gives elements of what is in the mind.